starting today, we're actually going to step into module 4, where we say, look, we've seen a lot of failed projects and we've seen why they fail. What can we do differently, right? So what are some strategies that we can sort of use? And every class, the idea is to pick one idea, talk a little bit about it, maybe see if it can be applied in a case situation, and see if you can add that into your toolkit of planning and developing infrastructure projects. Okay, so that's the plan. So the plan today will be, it's actually a little bit of the opposite of what we do. I'm first going to invite Rahul's group, group 10, is it 11? Group 10, to make their presentation on the readings, right? And there are essentially a couple of ideas that come out of the readings that they'll discuss, and then we'll have a chance to discuss them a little bit. After which we will we'll have one of a selected group come in and present the Adayar Punga case study. We'll present the case study. I'll show you a small video on the project. We can watch that, and then we can sort of discuss that project. Okay. So also by way of introduction, we have in class with us today Professor Vince Mangione. Vince is a professor at the University of Technology at Sydney, and works quite a bit in the areas of infrastructure planning, land appraisal, valuation, and so on. And he's actually had a lot of practical experience working in the industry as well, in the larger infrastructure space. So since Vince is here, I'm going to have him pick at random the group that will present today. So,
good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chinmayi. I'll be presenting a stakeholder mapping approach, one of the 3 approaches that our group will be presenting for the analysis of the relationships between the stakeholders and their interactions. Firstly, who are stakeholders? We'll be concerning our interest only in the construction projects. Stakeholders are not only the clients that are directly involved in the project, but they are also the users of the facility and the community, basically the bystanders of the project. So who are these clients? Should they be viewed as a single entity where they'll be acting on a same word, on same decision, or they are a group of people with different levels and types of powers and interests in the project? Viewing the clients as a single entity is an approach that was made very long ago, and this is not relevant and is not in use in present age. So clients are viewed as a group of people with different levels and types of powers and interests. So these clients or the stakeholders have basically these 4 attributes. They are expectations. Stakeholders have few expectations before taking up a project. They have few interests in particular part of the project or on the whole of the project. They have power to change the decision or make a decision. And a predictability of the stakeholder, it is where you can be able to predict whether a stakeholder will react or will not react to a particular change in decision. Coming to the project organizations, they can be defined as shifting multi-goal coalitions where clients will not be the same, and even if clients are not same, their decisions will not be the same. They may be changing. Because of these changes, there will be conflicts. So how do we deal with these conflicts is 2 main methods are sequential attention or buying of opposition. Sequential attention is where you solve the problem and making the stakeholders silent. Buying of opposition is through side payments to the stakeholders. Coming to the project strategy, how you deal with the project strategy or how you deal with the change in the project strategy shows the rise and wane in the power of the participants. How you deal with the project strategy shows how powerful you are. And why is power needed? To retain the status quo of that particular company or particular stakeholder, and also to enforce the fundamental changes when you find something is wrong in the project. Coming to the stakeholder analysis, it is nothing but interactions between the stakeholders, the primary stakeholders and the secondary stakeholders. Primary stakeholders are those who are directly involved in the project, the contractor, the developer, the designers and all. Secondary stakeholders are not directly involved in the project, they are the bystanders. How they interact with each other, how they interact with other organizations, and how they respond to changes is what stakeholder analysis looks at. First part of stakeholder analysis is the interactions. 2 types of interactions are there in the stakeholder interactions. They are, one is cultural arena, where stakeholders discuss and they cooperate and take decisions, which is nothing but centripetal force that guides the interactions. Second thing is the political arena, where only a group of powerful stakeholders enforce their decisions on other stakeholders, which leads to competitions and conflicts, which is nothing but centrifugal force, where none of them agree upon a single decision. And how are these conflicts? There are many types of conflicts, and major important ones of those are long-term versus short-term objectives, when decisions and objectives have to change because of particular events happening in the course of the project. Cost efficiency versus jobs. Quality versus quantity is one important conflict that occurs in almost all construction projects. Control versus independence. Each stakeholder wants to be independent while working. That may not happen in all the projects, and this conflict can be attributed to almost all the projects, not only construction projects. Coming to the analysis, it depends upon the predictability, power, interest, and the possible impact of the stakeholders' expectations on the project strategies. So one method of analysis of the stakeholders' interactions is stakeholder mapping. It can be done in two different ways. One is power predictability matrix and power interest matrix. As you can see in the diagram, the first one is power predictability matrix. There are 4 zones of stakeholders, wherein the first zone of stakeholders have low power and high predictability. With such a zone, you will have very few problems while taking up the project. And the other extreme is high power and high predictability. High power and low predictability. You don't know how they react to the change in the decisions, but they are very powerful. So these are the dangerous zone of the stakeholders that have to be managed. Coming to the power and interest matrix, the dangerous zone of the stakeholders is in the C block, wherein they have high power and low level of interest. They might change their interest when decisions made are not satisfying them. So the main interest of a project manager or who deals with the project is to keep them satisfied. And there is a high chance of repositioning of the zones C and D when there is a dissatisfaction in those zones. Usually when you try to satisfy the zone C of stakeholders in the power interest matrix, as you see there, it might not be in agreement with the zone D. So they might get very aggressive while taking these decisions. So there can be repositioning of the zones C and D, but that doesn't mean A and B are not important. They also have a very important stake in the decision taking process. And all these relations vary over time, and they also depend on the stage of the project, because not all contractors and designers work throughout the project. They have certain period and they vary over time. Stakeholder management principles is a very important thing that has to be focused in the projects nowadays. The first approach to this is the Machiavellian approach, where a project manager has to maintain the stakeholders' interests against the opposing forces. When there are developers, contractors, designers, and local authorities, not all of them will be on the same road. So balancing both of them is one of the important duties of a project manager. A project manager also has to make sure that there isn't much repositioning of the zones of the stakeholders, like zone C to zone D, they must not shift. Aligning themselves or wise decisions in forcing the change. If a project manager aligns himself to a particular group, that doesn't help the project go in a proper way. Wise decisions in forcing the change is when he takes decisions of a majority or something like that. Alliances between the stakeholders against outside stakeholders. When there are stakeholders that are very powerful and are trying to influence the project with their power, there can be alliances between the stakeholders that are inside the project, and they can act against the outside stakeholders. This has to be taken care by the project manager. And the internal coalitions versus external coalitions is also the same. they can be active or passive with respect to the power and interest at that particular point of time and the stage of the project. Another approach of the stakeholder management is the Kantian approach, where it has two principles of management. The first principle involves management of the project for the benefit of all of its stakeholders and their rights. Their rights must be ensured and it must benefit all of its stakeholders. It's like a consensus. Principle 2 is where a project manager has to act in both the ways, in the interest of the stakeholders as their agent and in the interest of the project to ensure its survival. Another approach of the analysis of these stakeholder relations will be continued by my friend Sunoj.
Good afternoon. I am going to discuss about the social network analysis. The social network analysis is the modeling of the relationship between the people, the groups, organization, computers, etc. The social network analysis is characterized by nodes and links. Nodes represent the people or groups. Link represents the relation between the nodes. It provides both visual and mathematical analysis of human relationship. The location of nodes and links is very important in the social network analysis. It represents the various roles and grouping various roles in the social network analysis. The network effectively shows the distinction between the three most popular individual generality measures. The social network analysis, the property of social network analysis represented by the three measures like degree of centrality and betweenness centrality and also closeness of centrality. The degree of centrality measures the importance of the importance or the influence of the network. For example, in this figure, the DN is have more connection with the other members nodes. So in this figure, the DN is the degree of centrality is more for the DN. The betweenness centrality measures the number of times nodes rise in the shortest path between the nodes. It means in this figure, Fernando and Gareth, they have the shortest distance between distance to communicate other members in the network. The closeness centrality, it measures how long it will take to spread the information to all the nodes. From the figure, we can see that Heather and Fernando and Gareth will take the less distance to spread the information in the network. The network centralization. The individual network centralization provides the insight into the individual location in the network. The very centralized network is dominated by one or few very central nodes. If the nodes are the remote or damaged, the network quickly fragments into unconnected sub-networks. The shorter paths in the network is more important than the larger path network. The network integration is more important in the social network analysis. Thus, well-integrated network is path provide both local and distant information. In this case, boundary spanners means who connect the network in the other parts of the network. For example, the Fernando and Gareth Heather, they connect the other part of the network or the clusters. These they have the access to the ideas and information flowing in the clusters. They are the position into combine different ideas in the knowledge. Then the peripheral players. Peripheral players means there is the Carol, Andrew, Beverly are the peripheral players in the social network. They are the very expertise in the network. They play a vital role in the network by the serving as expert. That's all about the social network analysis.
So I'm going to discuss about the strategic management of stakeholders. This is a research paper written by some people on their views on how to strategically manage the stakeholders, because this is very important for any growth of company. So this they begin by defining stakeholders in their own terms, those groups whose support the organization, without whose support the organization would cease to exist and so on. They basically give 3 steps to the top management team to effectively manage the stakeholders. They are first to identify the specific stakeholders, because each and every project has a different set of important stakeholders, so we need to identify them properly. Next, we need to identify the interactions between the stakeholders, and then develop a strategic management plan for each of the stakeholders. So for identifying specific stakeholder, they also propose something similar, said similar by Chinmayi. It's the interest power grid. So they locate the stakeholders on this grid. They vary. The x-axis shows the power and the y-axis shows the interest. In the right top corner are the players which are very important for a project. They need to be handled effectively, and the people with low power and low interest require very less time or effort from the management side. Next, the social influence network. So the players, when the stakeholders are mapped on this power interest grid, they are also connected through lines showing their connections between the stakeholders. These contain both formal and informal relationships. They are very specific to each organization, so they should be kept confidential. This is an example of stakeholder network. So the dotted lines indicate the indicate that that those stakeholders have an informal relationship, and the solid lines indicate that they have a formal relationship. Informal relationship is something that is not related to the office, like they might go to play golf together or something like that. The formal relationships are something like manager supervisor relationships and so on. Next, so after identifying these relationships, we need to manage these stakeholders. So to manage these stakeholders, each stakeholder needs to be analyzed separately. So they propose something called social management web for this, in which the specific stakeholder which we are analyzing is at the center of the web, and on the top of it, all the power which he has to influence is written on the top, and his interests are written on the bottom, and they are linked through lines. The dotted, the light lines indicate not much important relationship, and the solid lines indicate that the relationship is very important and it's formal relationship, and the dotted lines indicate informal relationships. That's it about the management of stakeholders. Thank you.
Making a pretty detailed, comprehensive presentation of various ways to really map stakeholders, because I think what we've seen in many of our cases is we have a number of stakeholders. Many of them have ways in which they influence the project. So we've looked at NGOs, environmental groups, political parties, financiers like the World Bank, right? So all of these people affect the project, and therefore at the very minimum you need to take them into consideration. I think in times past, Chinmayi made the point that there are two kinds of stakeholders, primary and secondary stakeholders. Sometimes you call them internal and external stakeholders. I think Johan calls them internal and external stakeholders in the work that he's doing. But essentially the internal or primary stakeholders are the obvious ones that you can see on the project. That's the financier, the developer, the sponsor, and so on. But then there are all these other secondary stakeholders, the people who are going to use it, the local residents, local or international NGOs, and all of these people who also have something to bring to bear on the project. And very often in the past, people never really thought that these stakeholders matter, right? So very often you just strike a deal which is based on pure economics. You start implementing the project, and you have all kinds of protests coming in. You've got people moving government to stop these projects, public interest litigations, etc. Right? So the first thing we need to do is actually figure out who our stakeholders are, right? So there needs to be a way in which we start identifying stakeholders. might seem very easy, but it often isn't really done, because if you really start sit down and start thinking about stakeholders and think of them as internal or external or primary or secondary, sometimes the list is not completely intuitive. It's only when you start applying your mind that you actually start figuring out who your stakeholders are. So I think step one in delivering these projects better is to do an exercise where you at least list or identify stakeholders, right? That's step number one. And then once you identify stakeholders, you've got to figure out a way in which you categorize them, which stakeholders are more likely to cause problems for the project, which stakeholders are likely to actually help you take the project forward, which stakeholders are making a lot of noise but it isn't really in the right direction. So I think we need to sort of categorize these stakeholders a little bit and then figure out a way in which we manage them, right? And that's where some of these tools come in handy. So one of the tools is the one that both Chinmayi and Rahul showed, which is this power interest matrix. And as they explained and as is very clear here, you've got two dimensions. You've got stakeholders that have a high interest on the project or stakeholders that have a low interest on the project. And you have stakeholders that have high power to influence the project or stakeholders that have low power to influence the project, right? So one might argue that maybe a small NGO might be highly interested in the project. Right, they might feel passionately about the fact that you are resettling slum dwellers or whatever. So they might have high interest, but they may have very low power, right? Because they're a small NGO, they're not well funded, they aren't really taken seriously, and so on, right? Similarly, and so those are where do we go here? So if we say low power but high interest, those guys would fall here. Whereas there are other people, the developer, for instance, or the financiers on a project. Financiers have high interest in the project. Of course, they're lending money to the project or putting in equity onto the project. So they're very interested in what's happening on the project. They also might have a lot of power to influence the project, because if they withdraw, the project might collapse, and therefore governments or developers, etc., might be in some ways beholden to the financiers in this case, and therefore they could be what are called players. Right? So depending on where you find yourself on the matrix. So step one is you list down people. That's just a laundry list. You go 1 to 20, 1 to 30, whatever, 1 to 50, list down people. Step two is to actually put them on this matrix, right? Or the power and predictability matrix, which was the other matrix that Chinmayi showed. See, where do they fall, right? And what do we need to do? So the category here, which is low power, low interest, right? So these are people who aren't really interested in the project. Have some association with the project, no doubt, but really also have not much power to influence the project. Maybe these are suppliers of equipment or material that go into building the project, right? So they have some amount of interest in the project, but not a whole lot, and they are just vendors, right? They don't necessarily have a voice in the project, right? So you don't really need to invest a lot of time understanding what their concerns are, etc., as far as the project is concerned, because their ability to influence and their inclination to influence the project is minimal, right? People here on the top, the subjects, right, have a large amount of interest but very little power, which means they probably can make a little bit of a noise, but probably don't have either the resources or the networks or the tie-ins to do anything significant, right? And therefore, what could you do? So in this paper, the encouragement is, I don't know if you guys can see this, probably can. Management could encourage conditions to increase the power of the positively aligned players. So when we say interest in projects, remember that interest could be positive or negative. I might have an interest to make this project go forward. I might have an interest to stop this project, right? So interest could go both ways, right? If I'm a beneficiary, if I'm a commuter who could take this metro rail to work, then I have an interest that's positively inclined. If I have property whose value is going to increase, I'm sort of inclined. But on the other hand, if I am paying rent and living close to the metro, and I'm going to be disturbed by traffic diversions, noise during construction, if my rental is likely to go up as soon as the metro is finished, then I'm likely to actually have a negative interest in the project, right? So I've got positive and negative interests. And the idea is, can we sort of get the people with positive interests together? Can we neutralize the people with negative interests? Can we get the people with a positive interest on the project to play a larger role, right? Can we start moving some of the positive subjects, right, to this end of the matrix, right? Can we get them more invested in the project, right, because they can support the project, okay? On the top right, you have the key players in the project, right, the sponsors, the financiers, the project developers, high interest, high power. You might have, as we've seen in some of our cases, international rivers network, right? In the case of the Bujagali Dam, somebody with a lot of interest on the project, a lot of power to influence the project as well, because they're able to influence the World Bank, they're able to influence international settlement. So these people deserve sustained management attention, right? We really need to understand what they want, figure out a way in which they can be kept happy so that the project can go ahead. And then there is this group here at the bottom, the context setters, right, who have high power but low interest, right? Examples of context setters. Who do you think is an organization that could be a context setter? Someone's not really interested in the project but has high power to influence the project. Mandish? Huh? Funding agencies or government agencies, but we already said funding agencies might be players. They have high interest in the project. They've put money into it, right? Government agencies maybe to some extent, right? And they can clearly set the policy towards the project, but not all government agencies might have the same amount of interest in the project. A way to look at it is, if you look at the metro rail and the highways department, right, the highways department actually owns a lot of the land through which the metro rail passes. They can grant permissions to put your viaducts up or not. They provide permissions for traffic diversion during construction. So they actually have some power, right, to influence the project, but they may not necessarily be as interested in the metro because it's not their project, right? Their highways, metro, someone else. So maybe the National Highways Authority, right, which essentially owns part of Mount Road, or part of Mount Road in Chennai comes under the National Highways Authority, probably have a lot of power to influence the development there, but not enough interest in the project, right? So again, they're a very important player, they're an important sort of actor, because if they exercise their power, it is possible that the project could be negatively affected. On the contrary, if they exercise their power positively, the project could go ahead, right? So essentially, you really want to spend a lot of attention on the top right. You want to spend some amount of attention on the top left and on the bottom right, and probably the least amount of attention managing people on the bottom left. But you'll understand that only if you list out your stakeholders and you actually map them like this, right? Otherwise, just because somebody published a report in the newspaper yesterday, and if you start channeling crores of rupees and hours of your organization's time to manage that person, and you later on find that essentially it was somebody who wrote an article that nobody really took seriously, somebody who had a little bit of an interest in the project, very little power, then essentially you wasted a lot of resources, right? So the idea is, can we get systematic about managing stakeholders? Can we start mapping them out, right? That's sort of strategy number one. We'll look at it a little bit in the context of Adayar Punga. Once we map out where they fall, it's also important to understand, yeah, Parthik. That might be something that's outside your control, right? National Highways Authority has a certain set of powers vested by statutory rules, right? There's nothing you can do to reduce their power on the project. Of course, you can reroute your entire metro rail and eliminate them as a stakeholder, right? But it might be difficult to fiddle with the power and interest, right? It's not as easy to make an interested stakeholder disinterested in the project, right? Or a powerful stakeholder less powerful, right? Possibly can be done, but it's very difficult. So that's not the idea. The idea is to say, we know this person has high power and high interest, which means we have to listen to what they have to say. So if International Rivers Network comes on the project, let's listen to what they have to say, right? That's sort of the idea. The second part, which Sunoj, I think, was presenting, right, was the whole fact of, okay, I've identified the stakeholders, I figured out which ones are important and which ones are not, but if we recall the Conoco case yesterday, what did we find out about, what did we find out about the NGOs yesterday, right, in the Conoco case? Yeah, Harsh.
They were divided, they didn't have a common goal, and they could be, you could obtain a.
So yeah, they were highly fragmented. They all had their own different goals. Some of them were very sort of supportive of the indigenous people. Some of them said development at no cost. Some of them said oil exploration is going to happen anyway, so we might as well help. So they were fragmented, but they were also linked, right? So NRDS, NRCS, whoever that was actually trying to play the linking role, saying we'll be the front, right, and we'll collate everyone's opinion, come to a settlement, right? So NGO, so all of these stakeholders are linked in some sense, or many of these stakeholders are linked, and that's where sometimes picturing these linkages by putting all these stakeholders and putting lines between them becomes useful, right? So this is a technique called social network analysis. It actually came out of graph theory, which is very commonly used in mathematics and computer science and so on. Essentially, what you're doing is creating what we call a graph, right? And this graph has nodes and edges, right? So this is, exactly the graph that Sunoj put up, but the names are a bit different. This is the canonical, very popular social network. It's called the kite network, because if you tilted this 90 degrees, it will probably look a little bit like a kite. And this is one way of saying there are a bunch of people here, Bob, Mike, Jill, Shane, etc. And this is how they're connected, right? When we say connection, you will have to decide what it means to be connected, right? Sometimes connection means I speak to you. Sometimes connection means I speak to you and you speak to me, right? Sometimes connection means I transfer information to you. So you'll have to have some definition. The good thing about social networks is you can have different kinds of lines, right? I think Sunoj was talking about, and even Rahul pointed out, straight lines and dotted lines, right? So sometimes you can say straight lines are when we have two-way communication, dotted lines are where you have one-way communication, but you're just representing the network, right? So this is how this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there's 10 people here, right? So 10 stakeholders, 10 organizations, and this is how they're connected to each other, right? So Jill talks to Bob, Mike, Emma, Shane, Leah and John. Lisa only speaks to Alan, or Lisa only communicates to Alan, right? And this is how the network comes down, right? You can build your own network, quite easy. Okay, so you could say, if you had Sachin talks to Sandhya, Sandhya talks to Sachin and Rahul, Rahul talks to Priya, Priya talks to Sachin and Sandhya, right? You could say, okay, here's Sachin, here's Sandhya, and here's Rahul, and here's Priya. Okay, so Sachin talks to Sandhya, which means Sachin sends information to Sandhya, so I'll mark that with an arrow. Sandhya talks to Sachin and Rahul, so there's a two-directional arrow between Sandhya and Rahul. Rahul talks to Priya. Notice that boys only talk to girls and girls only talk to boys. And Priya talks to Sachin, and to Sandhya. Okay, so I need to take that back then. Okay, so Priya talks. So this is now a social network, right? And the directionality of the arrow tells me something, right? So now it sort of tells me, if Priya needs to communicate to Rahul, right? She doesn't seem to have a way of communicating directly with Rahul. Rahul has her phone number, she doesn't have Rahul's, and so she has to go through Sandhya and say, look, how do I get to Rahul, pass on a message? And so, you get to understand a little bit of the dynamics of the network, right? Same thing, just drawn with colorful notes, right? And also remember that these ties can also be strong or weak, right? So, yeah, we said Sachin talks to Sandhya, but Sachin might be talking to Sandhya a lot, right? That might be a strong link, right? Whereas Rahul talking to Priya might be once in a while and probably just to say no, right? So that's essentially a weak link or possibly a non-existent kind of link. So ties can be unidirectional, bidirectional, can carry information, can be strong, can be weak. So I think it's important to start looking at and modeling these kinds of networks, right? So now I've sort of shaded these to show that there are strong links and weak links. Right, so a link now tells me, is it unidirectional, bidirectional, is it strong, is it weak, right? So I can start playing with this. So you can do anything, right? You can take, the network of just the people in your wing in the hostel and draw a social network diagram, right? You can even take people in your own group in this class and draw a social network diagram, right? Or whatever group it is, right? People on the football team, right, and draw a social network diagram, right? So, and the social network diagram can be on who speaks to whom, but you can look at the football team and you can say who's passing the ball to whom, right? And you can get sort of a graph of, what does that look like, right? Are there certain people who everyone passes to, right? Are there certain people who no one passes to? And that gives you a little bit of intelligence on what's happening out there. And then you can decide, do you like that, do you not, right? Do you want somebody centrally to control the pace of the game, or would you like it to be what the Dutch used to call total football, right? Everyone goes everywhere, passing to whoever they can find, okay? And one way of sort of looking, so when I have 4 people, Sachin, Sandhya, Priya and Rahul, it's easy, right? I can take a look at it and very quickly understand what's going on, right? But Rahul, this Rahul, not that Rahul, put up a, a matrix with the Scottish something authority, right, from that paper. There were, what, 35, 40, actors maybe there, so one read it. So now it becomes difficult, right? That's a lot of links to keep in my mind, right? So I want to sort of understand what this network tells me. I want to sort of get some metrics out of the network, right? And these are some key metrics. The degree centrality is how centralized is this network, right? So in other words, you have, maybe I have a picture here. Yeah, so who is the most, so you can ask questions like, who's the most central person in this network? Who's connected to the most number of people? Who's the hub? That's what we're really asking. Who's the hub? Right? Where does information flow through? Who's the most active, right? So who's the most active, you think, here? right? So Jill seems to be off the lot the most central actor in the network. Jill seems to be the hub through which communication flows, right? Which means if I wanted to quickly influence as many people as I need to in the network, right? So there's sort of an important piece of information, class is cancelled, I want to get the word out, my phone's running out of charge, there's exactly one person I can send a message to, right? Then I'd probably be best served by sending that message to Jill, right? Because she's the most connected and that message can go out as quickly as possible, okay? Of course, I could also send it to Lisa and it would slowly propagate its way through the network, but by that time all of you might already be assembled in class only to find out that it's cancelled, right? And so Jill is sort of central, really helps spreading information, not throughout the network, but very quickly to other parts of the network. So centrality, and you can calculate an overall centrality score for the network, right? How centralized is the network, or you can calculate centrality scores for each of these nodes, right? And it's very simple, how many people am I talking to versus how many people are talking to me, kind of, or what are the total number of people talking in the network versus how many people am I talking to. So you can do these, so if you go and read up anything on graph theory or on social network analysis, and there are tons of books and you can go to Wikipedia and all of that, you'll find very simple formulae, right, that allow you to measure centrality. But I want to sort of understand centrality of the network. I want to understand who are central, because this is a stakeholder who, if I can positively influence, can possibly positively influence a large portion of the network, right? This for me could be NRCS, right, or whoever, or maybe even the International Reverse Network, right? If I can influence these guys positively, really spreads. Whereas, some other Save Bujagali crusade, right, might be sort of somebody peripheral. If I influence them, it might take a lot of time, it might not even be possible for them to influence the network, okay? So that's one, that's what we call degree centrality. But there's another concept, again, Sunoj mentioned all of this, but I'm just sort of going through them again, is betweenness, right? So who's a broker? Who influences the network, right? Which sort of node can I penetrate, right? So that I actually can sort of penetrate different parts of the network, right? So who do you say has the highest betweenness centrality here? So who could influence simultaneously multiple parts of this network, right? Possibly someone like Liz, right? So in fact, what you really have here is what we call two subnetworks, right? These are almost two subnetworks, sort of joined together. It's what we call cliques, right? This is a group, these people talk to each other, right? Essentially Jill and her friends, and once in a while they ask Liz to come out with them. But Liz really connecting to Alan and then to Lisa, who nobody else has, power to really influence or talk to, right? So Jill would be great to very quickly spread information to at least a part of the network, but Liz would actually ensure that there is probably more equitable distribution of information around that network, right? So she has what we call more betweenness centrality, right? And that's again, if I want to start spreading a rumor, I might actually start with Liz, right, rather than with Jill, because this could actually spread in multiple directions and it'd be very difficult to correct it, right, because it's all so far flung. So Liz is in that way is a broker, okay? Closeness centrality, who can assess others most easily? Who has the shortest path to others? Who has the best visibility to what's going on? Who do you think has the highest closeness centrality? Who do you think has the best visibility to what's going on? Okay, let's go look at the definition again. Who can access others most easily? Who has the shortest path to others? Right? So Emma and Shane are in these very interesting positions. They're not as central as Liz, or as Jill. They aren't as connected as Liz to both sides of the network. But if you really look at it, if I wanted to send information to anyone, Emma and Shane end up being uniformly, 2 or 3 steps away. In most cases, 2 steps away from most people, right? In most cases. So except for Lisa, who is 3 steps away, right? They are essentially 2 steps away from everybody else, right? Whereas Liz is 1, 2, 3 steps away from John. She's 3 steps away from Bob. Jill is 1, 2, 3, 4 steps away from Lisa. So if you look at just the shortness of the connections, right, the closeness centrality is a property that Emma and Shane have, right? And again, that's just something. So there are all these metrics that you can start looking at, and who is connected to those who are. So you can start now getting to meta metrics, right? He is most connected, and she is most connected to him, and therefore she is most connected to he who is most connected. And you can actually start, looking at. But it's very important, because now, if you can understand this, right, you understand who to talk to, to influence the network, right? So you have a high power, high interest stakeholder, takes a lot of time and effort to manage this person. There's somebody else who may not be as high power or high interest, but maybe much better connected onto the network, right? And by influencing that person, you actually quickly influence 15 or 16 other stakeholders, right? And so unless you have this map, becomes difficult to sort of understand because you have limited time and resources, right, to influence stakeholders, okay? So you can ask these questions, how centralized in the network? So these are two very extreme canonical networks, right? This is sort of this I think is what they call the star network, is that it? Yeah, this is the star network. This is highly centralized, all information flows into the center. This is your typical bureaucracy, right? Everything, nobody else talks to anyone else, we only talk to the boss, right? And that has a particular dynamic, highly central network. This is a highly dense network, everyone talks to everyone else, right? Everybody talks to everyone else, right? So here it's very clear that this person carries the shots, calls the shots, and if I can't get to that person, right, I'm in trouble. Here I could potentially, everyone is equal, right? It's a perfect team here. I could influence any of these people and I'd have an equal chance of being able to influence or contact or deal with anyone else, right? So there's centralized. So these are important things to understand. This kind of a network, you can obviously see there are 3 cliques here, right? There are 3 different sort of subgroups, right, very clearly connected to each other. These subgroups you can visually see are not really very well connected to each other, right? And you can even do metrics to sort of figure that out. And Jenny, John and Jack form an interesting triangle, okay, where they actually are now these boundary spanners, right? These are the gatekeepers through whom information flows in and out of these networks, right? So in some ways you could have some brilliant scientists here with wonderful theoretical ideas, right? But unless you have good coordination between Jenny, Jack and John, none of those ideas might really make it to other parts of the network, right? So just say this is design, this is finance and this is construction, right? These are the gatekeepers who really sort of help understand how all of this information flows together, right? So again, looking at a network helps you understand what are the strengths of the network, what are the weaknesses of the network, right? What do I have to do to really influence that network, right? And how do I make sure that I get the best ideas, the positives out of the network, and I find a way to minimize the troublemakers and the negative sentiments and so on, okay? So we'll look at this. There's a very important concept, particularly in the social sciences, but also in graph theory, called structural holes, and these are actually places in the network where a tie is absent, where in the presence of that tie you could really solve a lot of issues in that network, right? So there's a guy called Ron Burt who sort of wrote this whole sort of book on structural holes. So it essentially indicates a gaps, accents of ties. So one of the things you do when you look at a network is say, is there a structural hole here? Do I need to bring in a facilitator, a mediator, another agency that can actually plug the structural hole that can connect these actors together, because they certainly need to talk and they're not talking, right? A boundary spanner sometimes is somebody who actually fills that structural hole, okay? So you have A, B, C. If you have a relationship like this, then B essentially is nothing, is a coordinator, takes information from A, passes it on to C, right? Essentially does a coordinating function, okay? Okay. All right, so so B essentially, okay. So A in some ways is a gatekeeper, because A is the one who starts the information flow. So if there's other information coming into this network, it has to come to A because information flows from A in. So A is what we call a gatekeeper, right? C essentially is a representative information. So someone that you call a representative, right? And so you can identify, looking at your network, who's the gatekeeper, who are the representatives, right? Gatekeepers sometimes are extremely important because they are the ones through which information flows in, right? B sometimes becomes a very important liaison kind of person, okay? So all of this, yeah, I don't think, and so this is again a very interesting kind of structure. It's similar to that star structure, but it's called the core periphery structure, and this is a structure that we see very often on infrastructure projects. There's a small core of people right at the center of the network making a lot of decisions, right? And there are all of these actors on the periphery. All the actors on the periphery don't know each other, right? They are often connected to certain members of the core network, right? So these could be citizens, these could be NGOs, right? These could be utilities, these could be vendors, technology providers. All of them are stakeholders, right? But they all have an interest in the project, but they all have different interests, and they're all connected to different people. Citizens might be connected to the government, right? Technology providers might be connected to the contractors, technology providers and vendors, right? And so on and so forth, okay? So, so what I'll do is, I mean, I've got some slides here, but I'm going to slip them now. We had a small experiment we did some years ago in a class that some of you took, the construction software lab, because you'll recall that you actually worked with people from other parts of the world as part of a group project. And so we actually started mapping the social networks between groups, and I won't talk about it, but I'll show you the network. So we did what we call sociograms. Right, and we said, okay, you know, there's team 1, some people from IIT, at the time it was Columbia University, who's talking to whom, right, and how does this network evolve over time, right? So you can see there's a network here, it becomes far more dense over a period of time, and actually then becomes far less dense, right, where both teams had one representative and they engaged information, right, and you can look at these kinds of networks, right, what happens with these teams, and then try to see if these networks can actually predict project performance, right, and it turns out they can. Sometimes very dense networks tend to do better than other networks, and so seeing how a network forms and performs and changes over time is often a very important and useful tool to see how projects might actually take place. So the whole point is listing out actors, mapping them to figure out who's more important and who's not as important, right? Figuring out who talks to whom and who can be influenced are all important exercises that you might want to do to really figure out how to manage stakeholders, all right? So I'll stop here with this discussion.